So we are now over 8 weeks out, so about 2 months after the last update of the CDC Nowcast estimates. Therefore, the administration and the CDC is just pretending that they're going to keep updating this, but they clearly are not, because there's no way a reporting period would go over 2 months between reports. And alternatively, we've seen two new things. The first is the travel monitoring program has been updated. So if you look down here, they're only including the major lineages. So like LP 8.1, XFG, NB 1.8.1, KP3, KP 3.1.1. We don't have any of the granularity that we used to have between all the different variants. They're just sort of bucketing them all into high level variants. On this other variant page right here, we're seeing the same exact thing where they've affinitized all of the variants. So it's basically pretending that all variants right now are XFG when there are many different variants of XFG that make up the proportion right here. So it says 65% are all XFG, but you have many different variants of XFG within that react differently than the other variants because they have different spike proteins, which makes it look like we have all of these very well-defined waves, but we actually don't have well-defined waves because now it was very predominantly single variants, and now we have multi-variants competing simultaneously. What does this mean about the affinitization, the loss of granularity? So basically they're grouping everything into small categories. So if we go over to Raj's COVID variant data, we see at the very top that XFG is making up 21% of variants, XFG.2 is making up about 19%, XFG.3 is making up 16%, and then if we go down, we have XFG 3.1, which is 1.88%. And then we can sort of confirm this if we look over to Mike Honey's tracker. So in his tracker, it's showing XFG star, which means that there's a bunch of variants within XFG. So XFG can be used as like the upper label, but knowing that we're grouping all of the different subvariants of it, and singular subvariants can be predominant and outcompete the other ones. So we see that with XFG, XEC, MB 1.8.1, LP 8.1. So this is showing that there's tons of subvariants within them. So for instance, XFG right here, XFG has XFG, XFG2, XFG3, XFG 3.4.1, XFG 4.1, XFG 5.1, XFG.9, and these are the predominant variants of XFG right now. And we see that the ones that are sort of outcompeting the others at the moment are XFG.2 and XFG.3, and this is on the global scale. So why is it important to have the granularity? Well, it's misrepresentative if we don't do that, if we group everything into these umbrella categories. Like, sure, we can say like the category at large is performing like this, but we lose out on the fact that there are subvariants that are taking over, that have moved away from that initial one that sort of drove that wave of that variant being in predominance. So for instance, LP 8.1 had a mutation that was another point mutation down the line, LP 8.1.1. So in February, LP 8.1 was going down, and then LP 8.1.1 was going up, and that drove for the rest for the next like 3-4 months. But it made it look like LP 8.1 was driving all of that, which made it so that when we had the vaccine meeting with the VRBPAC meeting that selected it, instead of selecting something like LP 8.1.1, which is actually the driving variant, they picked the variant LP 8.1, which is more the umbrella variant of the group, because it's that's affinitization, that's categorizing. So when you take these other variants and you group them all within this higher level one, it's not necessarily representative of what variants are actually driving the waves currently. It's just sort of a group heading, but then it causes decisions down the line that don't stack up, that don't match what should be done, and that's how these decisions can have impacts.